Hi guys, I'm Evante. Welcome back for another video. I remembered my book. I had it on the table. It fell. Yeah, it definitely did that. Anyway, oh my God, what am I talking about? Okay, so today we're talking about campaigns. Campaigns are one of the core pieces of marketing, of branding, of advertising. It's a word that gets used a lot, and it's a really important thing to understand because when we look at a piece of content that's been created, and if you don't know what content is, go back and watch my video that explains what content is. But when we look at what content is and when it's created, campaigns explain the reasoning behind it. So what is a campaign? A campaign is a coordinated series of actions designed to hype a product, a service, or an idea. Pretty much we're saying this is the plan of how we do what we do. If you were to think of a heist movie, right? Like when they're like, we're gonna steal the Declaration of Independence, and then they're all like, okay, how are we gonna do that though? Like the campaign is how you're going to do that, right? We see campaigns even apply in military strategy. When we're trying to accomplish a goal, there's a campaign, there's a project that is laid out. And there are a couple of pieces that make that a thing. But really the part that you should take away from this is that when you see stuff, you should know there's a campaign behind it. And I think this is really important. So what do we mean with a campaign? What does a campaign include? Well, let's say that I am trying to sell my book, Power Beats and Rhymes. If I were my own client, I was approaching somebody and say, hey, this is my book. I need to get this sold. I want to be on the New York Times bestseller list. There is a certain amount of books that have to be sold for you to get recognized, to even get put on that list. And then there's an editorial listing that goes along with it. There's a process. Essentially, there's a process to do it. And so someone approaches me and is like, all right, well, the first step in that process is selling 10,000 books. We need to sell 10,000 of these boys. And what does that look like? How are we going to do that? And so we start asking questions, right? We start saying, well, who do we sell the book to? Who's really going to buy this thing? If we had to put it out there, who's really going to be the most likely person to buy it? And like, I'd say probably people in their mid to late 30s, civically, socially aware, maybe mid 20s. I think so mid 20s to mid 30s, 10-year range, forgive me. That are interested in civic and social influence and impact, focused in grassroots and community work, and also have a history for enjoyment for history. I think all of those are things that would fit as who the audience for this book is, right? So in saying that, then we go, okay, we need to create a campaign that gets this book to those people. How are we going to do that? And so over time, right, that changes. Back in the day, as we talked about in the Mad Men era, Madison Avenue, that was through a couple of ways. It was through television, we're going to run a commercial, through radio, we're going to run a commercial, or in print, we're going to print an ad. We're going to have an article or a release piece. You'll even hear about, we'll talk about publicists and like PR at some other point, but really, the idea was that we need to create this conversation. That principle hasn't changed, except for now the tools have. Now we have things like YouTube, we have things like social media, we have email, we have websites, we have all kinds of stuff. And so as a strategist, it's your job to know how to use all of those pieces to achieve a single goal of selling a book or doing something else or selling a product or growing your following on social media. Whatever that goal is, you have to build a campaign for it. Now, here's the thing. Campaigns are unique. Depending on who you're trying to reach, you're going to need a different plan of attack. Depending on the time of year, you need a different plan of attack, right? We could really compare this to military history and military tactics, which I do love history. It's one of my favorite things to study and nerd out on. And so in a lot of history, you'll see that like even when they run the same plans, they have to make an adaptation or a change for their new conditions, right? So when we talk marketing campaigns, we do the same thing. If we're running a campaign near the end of the year, in what may be considered the fourth quarter of the year, the last 3 months of the year, Q4, then we're gonna think about things and what's going on that's different during that time. Well, during that time of the year, there's a lot of holiday shopping. People are buying presents, right? And from that simple statement, we can say, all right, if people are buying presents, when do they stop buying presents? Well, they stop buying presents usually in mid-December. Usually there's a huge spike in retail shopping in early December, and then you have a final wave at like the end. But like Really, if you're trying to think about like when do we need to push this? We need to push this all the way up until the last week of December, because that's when people are buying things. Okay, when do people start thinking about buying things? That's a little bit further back. So maybe it's 3 months back, right? So now you have a time frame, because you have to have a time at which you're going to do this attack. You're gonna have some time in which you're sending this stuff out. And so you may say, okay, we're going to tell people about this stuff. We're going to tell people about this book for 3 months leading up to the holidays, just continuing to tell them about it once a week, just a little touch, just a little piece, just a little thing right there. We're going to do that over and over and over again, kind of like a toddler pulling on your leg saying like, hey, I'm here. We're going to do that because it works. And then when we get closer to the holidays, we're going to do it more, and it's going to be bigger so that we get more of their attention. So we're driving more of that stuff. And so campaigns are always about driving that action. So then how do we measure a campaign, right? Do we just base it off of the number of products sold? Yeah, sometimes. When someone tells me they want to sell 10,000 books, the first thing in my brain and the first question that comes to my mind is, what is your budget? Because advertising costs money. And even if the content, the things that you're watching right now, don't cost a lot, the payment and the amount that you have to pay to shoot it, like to spread your message out there to the numbers that are necessary to get 10,000 people to buy a book, that's a lot of money. That's just a lot of money. And so usually that's the biggest requirement, is that people have to have a serious budget to do something like that. But if you do, right, if you have the money, if you have the necessary money to sell enough books to do that thing, then your first question is going to be, how do we spend that money wisely? Where does that money need to go? And some of the things I'd probably say are going to be like, yo, you should be putting money into what we call niche influencers, are creators who, hype products and talk about products. So it's like, I would look out to TikTok. I would make sure that we got your book on TikTok Shop, that it was available for affiliate marketing, a whole bunch of other words that I should explain at some point. And all of these pieces. And again, everything that I'm saying, everything I'm looking at, we're like, oh, we need to get your website up. We need to do this. We need to do that. It sounds like a lot. But all of these pieces fit together into like a to-do list, into a schedule. And essentially we say, what do we need to do first? And really in marketing, what you're going to do is you're going to work backwards, right? If I want people to receive this book, the immediate first step back from them receiving the book is the book being available, the book being shipped to them, right? So they have to have a way for them to get the book. I may say, okay, well, that means there needs to be a website where I can get their payment information, get their address, and have it sent. Or I could say, like, I need someone else to handle that for me, which is why we have things like Amazon. And so you go, okay, it's on Amazon. Cool. How are they going to get to Amazon? They'll click on a link in the description of this YouTube video. Great. Who's going to put it there? You get what I'm doing? And so you take it step by step. How are they going to see the YouTube video? Right? The reason that these videos are going out at the timing that they do is to slowly build up an organic following on my social media, on my YouTube. Do I really care how big the following is? No. I hope this is super helpful for you guys, and I'm glad to do it, and I will continue to do it because I should. But consistency is half the battle. I don't really care about the numbers. When we say those kind of like, the reason I can say that stuff is because I'm driving a campaign. I'm not doing this for clout or for followings or for pieces like that. I'm doing that to sell this book and to make it available for you. And so I can tell you the campaign that I'm running right now by creating a video that talks about the purpose of marketing campaigns. And eventually, yeah, I'll be able to run you through the numbers and say like, hey guys, remember when I talked about that I did this campaign and here's how it went and here are the numbers for the book. Happy to show you all that stuff. But that all starts with going backwards. It all starts with making things as common sense acceptable as possible, right? So campaigns really are that way of thinking. It's just walking backwards. It's saying, okay, how is this person going to see this thing? How are they going to buy it? What's the fastest way to get it to them? And then going, where are they available to be convinced? Where are they available for me to talk to them? Do they drive in traffic every day? We should think about a billboard, right? Like it's stuff like that. Do they watch sports? We should consider advertising on sports channels, right? Like it's things like that. And you do multiple things. There's never one ad that's enough to just change everything. That's not how we really look at campaigns. We consider that it's going to take a lot of different touch points, a lot of different pieces of creative, a lot of different pieces of content that have to go out to get you to make this purchase. It's not immediate. Okay, I'm not saying that it is. You're not going to post a YouTube video and you should not expect everything to just change tomorrow. It can, it definitely can, but like you don't plan on it. And campaigns are plans, they're strategies, right? And so we don't plan on going viral. We plan on the numbers that exist. We plan on how many people we expect to like a video based off of average likes. And we go from there and we decide how we set those goals to make things like 10,000 book purchases possible. It takes time. When I plan a campaign, it's going to take me a couple days, and I'm going to plan a campaign for no shorter duration than usually 3 months. In all honesty, it's going to take about that long to hype a product, especially for something that people don't know about. Introducing a brand, it requires a campaign. Anytime you're introducing a new product, it technically should require a campaign. You're doing an event, you want to sell tickets, campaign. You have a new website, if you're driving a goal and that goal is directed towards revenue, then there is a campaign behind it, whether you planned it out or not, right? If that campaign was as simple as you doing a post on Facebook, well, it's not a very good plan, but it is one, just realistically, right? Unless you don't say anything to anyone, that's not a plan. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about what a campaign is, when you're thinking about how can I plan my own campaigns? How can I take some time to really think through what I want to do? Then my advice is going to be start with the slow stuff. Start months and months in advance. Don't try to plan a campaign for the event you're doing next week. You will drive yourself into a wall. Make sure you give yourself time. Give yourself those 3 months. Say what's happening in 3 months from now? Is there a holiday or an event coming up that I really want to do something for? Maybe it's a house party and you just want to make sure it's lit, bro. That could be your whole thing. Go for it. Then work it backwards. Say what is necessary to get people from step Z to step Y to step X and go all the way back to A. And if you can do that, if you can take the time to do that, ask the questions, look it up, find it. You can always ask comments here on guidance and I'll be happy to answer those as well. But that's the process for building a good campaign. The best campaigns are just super tedious like that. And understanding really what you're talking about and what's going to happen in that journey, that path that person's going to go through. So knowing every step is super important. That's what campaigns are. That's what I wanted to say on campaigns. I could continue to talk, as you could tell, but I want to make these things pretty simple, right? Campaigns are projects to accomplish a goal. That's what you need to know. And if you want to accomplish a goal, start by working backwards. That's the important part to take away from all of this. I'll be back soon with another video. Thanks for watching. And if you have not, go buy my book, Power Beats and Rhymes is available everywhere. And it's on Amazon Prime, as well as Kindle, ebooks, and all that good stuff. See y'all later.